Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Nioh level 1 Raoh build, using fists and knees to succeed. We're entering into the Spider Nest Castle, and this is pretty tricky, because the fists miss the small spiders unless you're a certain angle from them, or a certain, if you can alter your geography to be higher than them, you can hit them. But if you're on an equal footing, you'll miss every time. It's really frustrating. The big one, of course, is much easier to hit because it's huge. It's also dangerous because his tracking is way better than the other spiders. So what I would recommend you do is I'd recommend you dodge his moves, hit him in the bum, and that will stun him instantly, and then proceed to do whatever you do to do damage. And just be very careful and cognizant of the webbing, which slows down your character's movement, which is another one of those things that I absolutely despise in this game. And I don't despise it just for the sake of despising it. I just don't like things that affect movement, and if something affects movement, I want to know a way to not be affected by it, and at the moment I don't know if there's a way to not have your movement impeded by a skill or a talisman or some kind of piece of equipment. But if it exists, I look forward in finding it, because there's nothing worse than being slowed down in this game. Sloth does it, lightning does it, web does it, there's so many things that slow you down. It's kind of obnoxious. This has not been the smoothest fight, and it's about to get worse, because this is one of those areas where there's a ton of dudes everywhere, and all I want to do is kill the big spider. I don't really care about anything else, because I don't need to. This is the guy who has to die, so I can open the door and get out of here. And one of my punches missed then, which nearly cost me my life. But luckily enough, I managed to interrupt the big spider, or he interrupted himself. I'm not too sure which one it was. Some of the enemies in this game can do some rather fantastical animation cancelling when they want to, and it's always when it comes to taking your life. The bosses can do it too. Shima Sakon can animation cancel, so can Yuki Onna, which you're going to see in the next video because she's going to do it. But once we hit the shrine, I'm going to run past all these fun people. As much as I would like to fight the big guy, I don't want to fight the skeletons. The skeletons are a nuisance. They take way too much damage when you're punching them, and they do a lot of damage as well when you're at low level. But we're going to cruise down to this corner, we're going to open a checkpoint, and I'm going to show you a nice advanced spider teleport, which is a technique that I came up with myself, and... oh no, maybe not. This wasn't a spider teleport, damn. This was just getting hit by a spider, running away, and then fighting a spider on a bridge, as he hits me with his silly string, which is, I think, a rather excited way of telling me he loves me. And I've been slowed down because silly string slows you down, apparently. Fun to know. So yeah, this is when things get kind of awkward, but I'm confident. You've just got to bait them the right way and hit the shrine the right way, and thus end the encounter, so there you go. If the fists had a cool moveset, guys, I would have gladly partook in that battle, but doing 50 damage to enemies that have got like 20,000 life or some bullshit is not my idea of entertainment or enjoyment. So until I can figure out a way to make the fists consistently viable, I'm going to kill as little things as possible, because it's one of those things where the bow right now is super handy because I can get rid of these people and get this spider to turn up. But I can't use the bow on everything, or what's the point? So it's just going to be utility. There's the silly string, hit him in the bum sack, there's the double knee, there's the buff. Can we get him? Here's the grab, missed, hit in the bum, hit in the... wow, you see that? He boomer turned. Fuck you, dude. Nonsense is what that is. There's another stun, the 2 hits. Missed him with the left hook, missed him with another left hook. Now I'm exhausted because my moves keep missing, and then he gets all his stuff back, but one more punch should put him down. So let's just punch him, there you go. Oh, missed. So that's another thing that I might not have talked about that I probably should, is the spacing. There's a reason that every weapon in this game is an extension of your hand, because when you just have your hand, you miss a lot. You have to be so close to the opponents to get the fists to work. And then when you're that close, getting away from them is even more difficult. So it leads to some really interesting situations where normally you can hit and run and get out of there, but you try it and it doesn't work because the recovery was longer, because your positioning was closer, because your roll didn't take you the distance you needed it to. So there's a lot of factors that are really going to highlight just how limited our tools are in this run. But at the same time, we're going to be able to do it because that's what makes it fun. So I'm going to try and hit the shrine, but the shrine's going to turn off because the spider's too close, which is always frustrating. The spider's going to go over there Scooby-Doo style, but the little spiders know exactly where I am, because apparently they got a memo, the big spider did not. I then proceed to run all the way back the way you saw me go last time, with a newly respawned boulder and another one of those tonguey bastards. Roided lickitongues, as I call them, and then we're going to be sprinting up to the shrine just before the boss fight. And when I first played this game, a lot of these levels felt like they took forever. They were like an hour a level, pretty much, was the time I was managing each of them. And I was looking in all the corners and exploring and fighting revenants and doing, the standard Nioh thing. But then when you come back through, once you know what's expected of you, you can get some serious work done really quickly. It's kind of surprising just how fast the levels go down once you know where you're going. This is another one of the level designs that I find quite baffling too. They give us 2 shrines in the space of 100 yards from each other, and one of them is particularly before a boss, which kind of seems like a bit of amnesty, doesn't it? It seems like they're feeling sorry for us and giving us a bit of an advantage. But then why doesn't it do it for everything else? It seems kind of strange that this level would have these shrines this close together and then the other one would not. I'm more of a fan of consistency than I am a fan of these unique features, because to me, the shrines should be spaced in just the amount of time it takes you to start worrying about whether or not you're going to find one. And then, for me personally, I would always put one before the boss, but I would literally put one at the boss door. I wouldn't fuck about with the ambiguity of making people run up ladders, which is probably impossible, but you know what I mean, and run up staircases and run for 30 seconds dodging dudes. I would get rid of that completely. Like, I would prefer it if the levels didn't have shrines, except for bang outside the boss and bang at the beginning, because then they could give you the whole illusion of, oh, it's such an arduous task, you did so well, here's a pat on your back for getting through the level, and then the boss fight can be no nonsense, the boss is the hard bit, the run back is not frustrating you, and there you go. But that's just not the design that they go with, and instead they go for a mixture of both. And we still, how many years has it been now since the Souls games have been going? Dark Souls came out when, 2011? Demon Souls 2009, 2010? I'm not too sure. So we've been going a few years now, and we still don't have the ability to make our own bonfire yet, our own checkpoint, our own system of respawn, which we need to get, because that's going to be a game changer, and I really cannot wait. But there goes the Fist Talisman. Here is Jirai Gumo, as I like to call her. So a few things about this boss that you might not be aware of. If you hit her in the tail, you will get big crits, but then she'll go into a defensive mode. What we're going to bait in the defensive mode is the string shot, because it has wicked range, but it doesn't linger. It's one of the only animations in this game that actually fucks off before it's finished. And we're going to bait that so we can do a big hit on her face. Normally, I would do the L1 and triangle with the high stance of the dual blades and do the tornado, because you can take off like 1/4 of her HP with it. But of course I don't have that. So instead, I'm going to run in there and I'm going to hit it with some big kicks to do good damage, and then I'm going to focus on her bum. And this is a boss, just like the new fight, and just like a few fights coming up. Yukion is another one. This boss hits me, but doesn't hit me. If I slowed the footage down, you will see that the swing of the strike is nowhere near me, and I still take damage, because everything has a little bit more of an embellishment than it visually does, which I don't like at all, but it's just how the game works, and this year has been full of it. This is the year of bad hitboxes, and they've always been less than stellar, but this year has been especially bad. So we're dwindling her down here. What's going to happen is she's going to do the rear up where she does that, and the webbing on the ground is going to slow my strafe. But still, I was past it, so I still feel kind of pissed off when it happened. And I'm not bothered about, not taking damage, because this is not meant to be a perfect run. This is a fun run. This is not about perfection. It's messy at times. It's real. This is it. So when I slow that down, I'm nowhere near the claws that she's attacking with. I'm close to her other legs, but they're not part of the attack. And I hate the whole, the entire body is a hitbox, because that's bullshit. When I swing my left fist, my right shoulder is not a weapon at that time. So if you touch my right shoulder, you don't magically get knocked out, unless, you're trying to headbutt me or something. And it's the same with wannabe Shiva, because she does those horizontal swings, and if you strafe around them, you can get out of the way of them and hit her from behind. And I do it 2 times in a row in that fight, and the 3rd time she hits me. And the spacing was nigh the same. It's just one of those things where they gave her more influence than her staff actually shows. And it's the type of stuff that I'd love to clean up. But I don't know how long that stuff gets developed for and how long it gets looked at, because I get the feeling it's one of those kind of, you know, aspects of development where close enough is a statement that gets thrown around a lot. And I'm not a big fan of close enough. I'm a fan of that's perfect. I'm a fan of, yeah, that looks great, make everything like that. And I think that's what it should be. Like, I don't think an attack has to be active the entire animation. To me, that doesn't make sense, you know? I like to look at it from the perspective of something like a heat map. When an attack is happening, as you build up the force, it's probably not as hot as the moment you swing, because when you swing, all that kinetic energy is going to glow bright, one would think, right? And that's when the hitbox is active, and then the moment that starts to dwindle and that heat recedes, it shouldn't be a hitbox anymore. But I don't know, maybe it's too difficult to do. I guess we'll never know. But that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.